So this one is called, congratulations, you do have a job. You have a job already. It just doesn't pay anything, right? You hear this all the time, that looking for a job is a full-time job. And I'm sure all of you who are doing this properly totally agree with that. You are busier looking for a job than you ever were when you were working. Unless you have given up and you're sitting at home drinking beer and eating Twinkies and coming to Launchpad on Friday for a banana. Those of you, you have to get with the program because you have a job and you're going to get fired from this job if you don't get with it. So, so a lot of how you deal with any kind of a situation is just how do you frame it? How do you frame it? Do you frame it as a potentially good thing or a potentially bad thing? The framing can help us get through sometimes the very worst situations where you look at something in a little bit more positive light. And it's a trick that's difficult to do for lots of people. When you're unemployed, this is how lots of people frame it. You are on the way to the poorhouse. Your body language is one of being defeated. You are depressed all the time. You are whining, you are complaining, and you feel that your future is gone. That's not an effective way to frame what you're going through. When you're working, ta-da! I'm working. I have a job. My job is finding a job. I'm in sales. This is the product I'm selling. Ta-da! It empowers you just because you framed it differently. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to get, just as Jana did, it's an opportunity to learn something new, get a certification, do a job that you've always wanted to do, perhaps get something that's even better. We have lots of people that say after a long hiatus, they were able to get a job that was better than the job that they had before. Certainly it was something that they liked better than they liked the other one. At the very least, it is an opportunity to meet a lot of very interesting people. Add them to your network, share information with them, help them if you can. It's an opportunity for that at the very least. And look on this job search as if it is a job. If this is a job, then that means that you don't go to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning after watching 5 hours of NCIS reruns. You have to go to bed early because you got to go to work in the morning. And you get up and you do something positive, you work out, you've got affirmations, you do something positive, and at 8 o'clock your day has started. And so you always need to have an agenda, a job search agenda, and make sure that it's an agenda that you can accomplish. Because what comes at the end of accomplishing everything on your agenda, you get to have fun. It's absolutely imperative that you have fun when you're looking for a job. And you don't need to spend any money to have fun in Austin, Texas, especially in the summer. You like music? We got Blues on the Green. We've got the symphony ensembles at the Long Center. All of it's for free. We've got the unplugged stuff going on. There's free movies all over town. Walk around Lady Bird Lake. Save yourself $150 an hour in psychiatrist fees. There are things in this town that can help you have more fun while you're looking for a job. So frame it. So here's your job description of your new job. Your duties. One of your job duties is that you have to either go to classes or read books on how to find a job. The way you found it, your last job, is probably going to be very different from the way you find your next job, especially if you've been working at the same company or the same job for a long time, or if you have moved here from someplace else. The way you found your last job is probably very different from the way you're going to find your next job. And so figure it out. We have classes for free down at the Workforce Solutions office. That's what I do for a living. Not that you necessarily have to come to my classes, but either read a bunch of books on job hunting or go to classes. Learn how to do this. A couple weeks ago, we had a wonderful presentation here by Gary O'Neill that was called Hiring is a Team Sport. And it was all about how important it is that you are proactive, take command of your job search, reach out and contact recruiters, contact them multiple times, network like a banshee, don't wait for jobs to be posted. It was all about being proactive. And as part of that, a little addition to that presentation was one of our board members got up and talked about how he has finally landed a job by doing that very thing, by being more proactive, by reaching out, by contacting people that he knew at the bottom of the food chain and saying, who's the top guy in this field? What's that person's name? And then he would say, can you get me in touch with them? And they go, oh no, I'm not that high up. I can't get you in touch with them. Can you get me a little bit closer? Well, I can hook you up with my boss. You can talk to him. So he'd work through that person. How can I get to this guy? And he kept doing that. And he said, I've been unemployed 16 months. And I wish that I had figured this out earlier. I wish I had been more proactive earlier. And I thought, like a lot of people, you think you know everything about looking for a job because you never had problems finding a job before. And so he never came to my classes. That's exactly what I teach in my job search strategy class. Don't wait for a job opening. Network your way up there. Be more proactive. Contact employers. Let them know early in the process who you are and what you have to offer. But he didn't ever come to my classes, and apparently he didn't ever read job search books either, because they all tell you that. They all tell you the same thing. There's really, these days, you can't just sit and wait for a recruiter to call you. You have to get out there and be more proactive. But he didn't figure that out till he was working a survival job, and he lost his unemployment, and he's been unemployed forever and was almost having to sell their house. So he got a really good job in the nick of time. But the point is, he really could have figured that out earlier if he had taken advantage of what's here for you. So get smarter. Identify your transferable skills. What is there that you have to offer an employer? And this also means out of your industry sector. I'm sure most of you are trying to do exactly the same thing you did before because that's where you're comfortable. That's what you know. But if your industry sector is not booming these days, you might have to transfer out to something very different, in which case you need to get busy. What are your transferable skills, and how do you repackage yourself in order to make yourself marketable there? If you've been in for-profit and you want to work in nonprofit, you better start volunteering at some of the places where you would like to work. So they learn who you are and they see how smart you are, and they the next time they have a job opening that you could do, they don't even post it because they just bring you on board. You need to start helping them, getting to know these people through informational interviews or through volunteering or through doing all kinds of other crazy things. This reminds me of this happened years and years and years ago. I used to live in a small town. There were only 2 or 3 companies that people really wanted to work in, and one of them was the brewery. We had a brewery there. It used to be Schlitz, I think, and then it became a Stroh brewery. But everybody wanted to work there. Not only was it union, there aren't very many union places in East Texas, but so you got paid really well, but you also got free beer, which is huge. So I had a friend who had gotten laid off who wanted to work for the brewery. Didn't know anybody there. The way that you had to get a job at the brewery was you had to know somebody on the inside in the union who would add your name to the bottom of the union list, and then when an opening came around and your name rose to the top. So this was a long-term strategy that you had to utilize in order to get a job at the brewery. So he didn't know anybody at the brewery. Didn't know how he could meet anybody at the brewery. We didn't have LinkedIn back then. We didn't have computers even. But he was reading the sports page one time and saw that the brewery had a bowling team. And so he took up bowling. He practiced and practiced, took some lessons, got on a team, and lo and behold, his team sometimes would play the brewery's team. Met some people on the brewery's team, got his name on the list. 2 years later, he's working at the brewery. So the point is, sometimes if it's something you want, you really have to plan ahead, and you have to be proactive, and you have to get out there and figure out how you're going to meet those people. And anyway, So identify your transferable skills and then write a marketing plan that includes a list of what are your target companies. Marketing plans is something that we teach in our Monday morning class. If you want to come to planning, one of the things is a marketing plan where you identify, these are the skills that I have to offer. These are the skills that different companies might want. And then based on those skills, where do I want to work? And you need to have not just a list of your primary companies, but you have to have the secondary companies. What if you've contacted all of your primary companies and you've exhausted all of those and you still aren't working? Well, then you got to go down to your B list and you need to contact those companies. Do they have any openings you could do? Do you know anybody there? Can you get an informational interview with somebody there? And you work those companies. And then you got to have a C list, your tertiary companies. They don't really want to work there, but you know, if worse push comes to shove and you've got to get a job someplace, then those C-level companies might have to be the ones that you go to. And then the fourth level, those are the survival jobs. That's what you take. In fact, David, the guy who worked his way up the food chain, he was working a survival job. This is a guy who used to be in a very senior level, highly paid job at Facebook, and couldn't get anything, and ended up taking a 3 to 11 shift job in inside sales at a security company. I can't imagine how low that salary was, but at any rate, he did it, and he was good at it, and I'm kind of surprised they even hired him for that. But it left his days free to interview and to work his strategy. And so taking a survival job is not a bad thing as long as you don't settle for the survival job. Always keep your eyes on the prize. Where do you want to go? What are you going to do? But you got to do something to feed your family and keep yourself going. And there's nothing wrong with taking a survival job in the meantime. So you write your marketing plan, and then you've got your list of companies. How many of you already have a list of target companies where you want to work? Let me just see. How many of you have a list? See, that's like a tenth of you. That's a tenth of you. Everybody needs to have a list of companies where you want to work. And how do you find out who those companies are? We know big companies, right? Everybody knows Dell. Everybody knows Applied Materials. Then how do you know about the little companies? Where do you find out about those? Impact Magazine. And it's really a newspaper, I guess. That's what you're talking about. So we all get that. It shows up. It's a fabulous publication. And the best thing about the Impact is that it says these are the businesses in your zip code, in your area, so you don't have to do that commute. And it's like, oh, they're opening up a brand new, I could work there. I'm going to go congratulate them on their opening, and I'm going to talk to them about what I could do for them, how I could help impact their bottom line. What's another way that you can find out about companies that you've never heard of before?
LinkedIn.
Now, how can you find out about companies there?
Well, you can go to the companies tab and do that, or you can just go by people that you know and find out the related companies on the sidebar there. Go through there, or you do what I do. You know, like I want to be a trader, so I put in trader. You find the names of traders, you find out who they work for. That's because that gives you companies there, and then you can go down there and see who else they know, and you go look at those links, and they give you more companies. So you can mine the companies very easily that way. It takes you about 10 or 20 minutes.
Man, you are killing me. That is absolutely brilliant. So I hope everybody heard that, because otherwise I'll have to repeat it. But he's a trader, not a Benedict Arnold kind of guy, but a Warren Buffett kind of guy. And so he goes into LinkedIn. If he knows the name of a company, that's great. But I just said, how do you find out about companies that you don't know about? He looks up people who are traders. I can hardly even say that. He looks up companies for people who are traders who are in the same career field that he's in, and he finds out where they're working. And lots of times it'll say similar companies, or it'll say people who looked at this person also looked at these people, and you can see where they work. And so you can keep building your target company list that way. Look up those companies. Most companies have a page on LinkedIn, very similar but not exactly like their website. and you can see all kinds of data about those companies, so that can add some more to your list. And you've already got people that work there that you might know that you can interact with. What's another way that you can find out about companies that you never heard of before? Yes, Laura.
If you have a library card, you can use their reference databases.
Okay, if you have a library card, and everybody ought to have a library card, you can use their databases. The reference librarian can help you figure out lists of companies that are in this industry sector and that industry sector and so forth. You can do that. Gordon? What? Book of lists. That's a good one. Book of lists. Book of lists lists the top companies, and sometimes they will be companies that you've never heard of before. The semiconductor companies are in there, and the video and TV film companies are in there. The top 25 credit unions, the fastest growing companies are in there. And the 100 largest nonprofits are in there. There's lots of interesting lists in the Book of Lists. You can look at the Book of Lists for free at the library. I have one. If you want to come look at mine, I'll make copies of the pages you want. But that's a good one. And where else? Yes, either one of you. I don't care.
Austin Business Journal was really good about announcing the companies now. Who the president is, the startup, and you know them more than anybody else.
That's right. Austin Business Journal is my personal favorite of all of these sources. I love reading the Business Journal. I never put down a business journal that I haven't learned about some new companies. It tells you they've gotten venture capital, or they've moved here from another state, or they're expanding to a larger facility or whatever. And it gives you not only a description of the product and the services, the name of the people in charge, some of their background. It's a wonderful, wonderful resource as well. Karen?
Attending meetups, people who are employed, right, and they tell you about the companies, and then also talking to people here to find out where they're not.
Okay, so meetup.com is a wonderful resource. Put in something that is work related. I mean, you can put in mystery writers or quilting or something, and meet people that do what you do for fun. But this is your job hunting. This is your job, and so you should also go into meetups that are specifically related to what it is that you do. Karen goes to Product Camp, where she's in product marketing, and so she goes into Product Camp and learns about companies that have new products that they're trying to do. Anyway, you talk to people and just get information, and your list of target companies in all 4 of those categories needs to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. So you're always working on your list and contacting companies. It's a dynamic list. Never quit adding to that list. Create your marketing materials. That's another one of your job duties. And so resumes, your cover letter, your business cards, all of that we know about pretty much. But it's you're in marketing, so you're in sales and marketing now, whether you want to be or not, whether you're introverted or not, and you are going to be constantly looking for ways to market yourself, to talk about yourself as you're finding out about other interesting people. Part of your job description says that you are going to be working independently, and you're also going to be working as a member of small teams in order to create multifaceted advertising campaigns. So I encourage you to create little SWAT teams, little teams of people that interact with each other on a regular basis and help each other find jobs. I tell you this every single orientation, do not attempt a job hunt by yourself. This is too scary to do by yourself. You need to have at least a buddy, but more than a buddy. Karen had a great buddy in Pat Scherer. Well, Pat Scherer has now gone to work, so Karen's got to fill that gap with another buddy, because...
I can share.
Yes.
So I post jobs for Job Seekers Network, and a job posting that I saw on Tuesday, before I posted it, I reached out to the person who submitted saying, okay, I need to know which city this is in. Is this Cedar Park? Is this Austin? Is it South Austin? And so then I saw it, I said, and the person called me, I said, I know someone who would be great for that job, but your pay is too low. She's far more advanced. And I talked her up, and she interviewed this morning there at 10 a.m.
Oh, wow, great. That's fabulous.
So when you find somebody who has an in at the company, leverage it. Ask quick
Absolutely. And that's very good. I wish you'd post those jobs to us too, just a thought. Okay. So you're going to be doing some of this on your own, but synergistically, if you have a team of people, you're all going to be sharing information with each other. You're going to be promoting each other, and it's so much easier to promote somebody else than it is to promote yourself. So part of your job is to hook up with other people for mutual benefit on sharing information and promoting each other. And so you want to make sure that you are very well represented on social media. Not only, like everybody needs to get a little bit smarter about this. LinkedIn, of course, is the big dog when it comes to looking for a job, and all of you, I think almost everybody in here, probably 99% of you, are already very well represented on LinkedIn, and you work that network considerably because it's so powerful and so robust. But depending on what kind of work that you do, you should also follow companies on Facebook, follow companies on LinkedIn, follow companies on Twitter. We've had some people that the only way that they got jobs was by following companies and following recruiters on Twitter. I know, nobody can spell right. It's hard to talk about yourself in 140 characters, but some people think that Twitter is going to be the new LinkedIn. I hate that, but that LinkedIn will go the way of the dodo and everybody will be unable to spell. Because we'll all be talking to each other on Twitter. Depending on the kind of work that you're looking for, Facebook for some companies is the way to go. Some companies never post anything to LinkedIn or any other place. They post on Facebook. And it depends. It's kind of quirky jobs or, in some case, niche jobs. The guy who lives across the street from me decided that he wanted to ditch the job he was doing. He wasn't having fun. And what he wanted to do was to get a job that had to do with his hobby, his passion, which was brewing beer. And he loves the science, the chemistry of the brewing process. And so he started to follow all of our many local breweries on Facebook, and they would post jobs. And he was waiting for a job and waiting for a job, thought he was going to have to volunteer, which he was willing to do, volunteer to get his foot in the door and learn more about the industry. He was going to volunteer with Thirsty Planet when he saw a position open with Real Ale in Blanco, Texas, and he got it. He grabbed it, got it, and that is a company that promotes from within. He's going to work his way up to production, and he hopes eventually, through self-study, through regular classes, and through that company to become a brewmaster at some point. So, but those are the kinds of jobs that they wouldn't find you on LinkedIn for that job, but they found him on Facebook, and they've hired people from all over the country through Facebook. So anyway, so there is that. Part of your job is going to be making sales presentations, and that is not only interviews, and that's where the mock interview practice can really help you. How do you present yourself? It's helpful to get feedback as to how you come across. And we have Jana, by the way, Jana Bassinet, who now started her job. She mock interviewed maybe 3 or 4 times for different interviews that she had. And she started out, I have to say, pretty stiff. She wasn't a smiler, and she's smiling now because she's working, but in her interviews, she was not. She came across as really, really kind of stern. And we make a DVD of your presentation, so we would say that you need to smile more, you need to be more relaxed, lighten up, talk about this, tell us some examples. And she got better and better and better the more times she mock interviewed. And so it's great that now she's working. So, but also, it's helpful if you are trying to promote yourself. If he's trying to promote himself as a trader, now do you belong to different associations of people that are, and have you ever made a presentation there? Many, okay, good. One of the things you want to do is to help other people in your industry know who you are. And you should try to volunteer to make presentations so that people can become aware of who you are and what you do. Now, if you're panicked about that, because getting up in front of people, that is not something that you're capable of. Gee, where could you learn those skills? Toastmasters, we have a Toastmaster group to help you do that too. We have a Launchpad Job Club Toastmaster group. The first, third, and fifth Friday, they meet right after our meeting. You don't even have to go anywhere, and you can get better at making presentations. In fact, on July 17th, our Toastmaster group is going to be our program, and they're going to focus on table talks. Because, Karen, you're in Toastmasters. You want to explain real quickly what a table talk is?
Sure, so in table talk, you throw out a topic and you speak to it for, I guess, 23 minutes. And it's all, just off the top of your head. And something I can tell you, every single time, whether I am watching someone else's presentation or I'm the one giving the presentation, if it's about other people, it's far more interesting than if the person makes it all about themselves. Okay? So it's just like, when you are applying for a job, do not seek to educate the interviewer. Add form, okay? Do not make it about yourself. Oh, I'm interested in this job. They don't care. What are you doing for them? Think about it. If you went into HEB and you asked where the frozen green beans were, and the person started telling you their shoe size, their favorite color, their favorite music, all right? That's kind of how it is. If you go into the interview and tell them about what you want, what do you bring to them, and how do you put your proof that you can do it?
I'm thinking I'm getting it. Green beans, not shoe size. Okay. But the point is that there are ways that you can market yourself, but it's all part of your job description. If you're going to be looking for a job, you want to be the best one in your career field. You want to be the best at that. So figure out what do you need to do. You need to get better at interviewing. Practice. You need to get better at making presentations. Come join Toastmasters. You need, your skills are weak. Take some classes. Get certifications. What do you need to do to be really good at looking for a job? This is your job. All right, so there's that. What else? You're going to be required to suit up and show up. In fact, we even had a presentation one time that a girl did. That was the topic, and the entire hour-long presentation was get out of the house. I don't care how tired you are. I don't care that you don't want to do it. I don't care that you're tired of going to networking meetings. That's your job. You are unemployed, and your job is finding a job. You're going to suit up, and you're going to show up. And right now, we have We have Network After Work that's coming up on the 28th. We have the Austin Tech Happy Hour. Nobody, I don't think, really enjoys going to these sessions where you are encouraged to talk to people, to mingle, to mix. Almost everybody is really an introvert. But it's your job to get better at it because so many people get jobs through those connections. So we have to get smarter about how do we do it? How do you strike up a conversation? How do you start talking to somebody that you don't know without getting liquored up first? How do you do this? And so you have to get better at it, and we can help you with that. So you got to suit up and you got to show up. And the meetups are good, the getting out of the house, going to lectures, talking to speakers, making these connections, volunteering with Leap to Success. It's all part of what your responsibilities are as a job seeker. Go to meetups, go to mixers, get better at it. In our company of unemployment, we value initiative, we value creativity, we value teamwork. Volunteer, help other people, reach out, promote others, be creative and be proactive. If what you've been doing isn't working, do something else. We've had people who've said, okay, I've gone 6 months, I'm not getting anything, I'm going to rewrite my resume, I'm going to change my look, I'm going to start going to meetings that I never had gone to before, I'm going to do something different because what I'm doing isn't working. So I'm going to try something brand new. Be creative, be proactive, try something brand new. You need to learn. You need to learn new hard skills, which is whatever technical skills, get better at your craft. You need to learn your soft skills. They say that soft skills are, hard skills are what get you hired and soft skills are what get you fired or promoted. So you need to get better at communication, for example. So you can be improving all sorts of things. Do a failure analysis. Why haven't I been getting hired? Why haven't my interviews been successful? And then have an open mind to that. Don't make excuses. Understand that everybody can get better. Everybody can learn, but figure out what am I doing wrong and what can I do better, and then learn about what really are your priorities. What's important to you? It's amazing how little you can live on, isn't it? And you're spending money on the priorities, the things that are really important. Your most valuable thing that you have right now is your time. And you're spending your time on the things that are your priorities. What is really important to you? Keep that in mind.
Do or do not, there is no try.
Do or do not, there is no try. That is true. And then additional information on your job description. You would be working on finding a job 30 to 40 hours a week with occasional overtime. How many of you spend that? That's your job, 30 to 40 hours a week. On things that are related. Part of what's related is also taking care of yourself and having fun. Part of what's related is getting a lot of sleep. Part of what's related is exercise. Part of what's related is having family and social things. Some of you have lost your social life because it was your work life, and you need to still have fun. David Ford's been coming to my classes a lot, and he says he's about to go on a fishing trip. He's so excited. Absolutely. Sometimes you just say, I'm done with job hunting for this week. I'm going to go have fun. I'm camping out. I'm going to the Old Settlers Music Festival. I'm going to Kerrville. I'm just going to forget about job hunting, and that's that's part of your job search sometimes, is just taking care of yourself and giving it all up, having a good time, coming back refreshed and renewed, and you got to do that. This job might require some travel. Think about it. The preferred dress for the job search, business casual. Somebody came to mock interview practice yesterday, and she had on kind of a wrinkly shirt and blue jeans, and she said she's working, and she said, I think this is business casual. And I'm like, not really. If you're, we're about to get into 100 degrees, so we don't expect you to be walking around in a suit, and we don't expect you to be, Eddie always looks great. We don't expect you necessarily to wear a tie, although he looks stunning, but people have got to be able to visualize you employed, not visualize you in a bar or holding a sign. So we have to be able to see you in the workplace. So anyway, when you're looking for a job, you've always got to be on. You've always got to be on. And you've got to be on with a good, positive attitude. Nobody wants to hear everything that's going wrong in your life. That girl that was kidnapped, I've known her now for 6 months, and she finally told us that. Horrible, horrible piece of information. When you're on, when you're looking for a job, you've got to be positive, upbeat, helping other people, great attitude, and we have to be able to visualize you employed. And we work hard at this company, and we play hard. So have fun, socialize, 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 interact with other people, do free stuff, and meet somebody new every single day. And you can put that on your feet if you want.